Hello, this video we're talking about what to look for in an orthotic is in regards to plantar fasciitis, but first, our disclaimer. Dr. Mike Matthews, physical therapist here with the PT 411. Thanks so much for joining me. If you already haven't done so, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Also, make sure you check out thept411.com. So like I said, this week we're talking about orthotics and what to look for, and pretty much two things that are often ignored with orthotics when it comes to plantar fasciitis. Now, there's been a growing amount of research and evidence over the last few years between the realms of podiatry and physical therapy that really shows that these two things that are often overlooked are actually some of the most important things that we need to look for in these in-shoe orthotics when we're trying to treat plantar fasciitis. Now, I will say I typically don't put people in these things early on in this process if it's a new or more acute injury, but if this is something that somebody has been battling for several years, absolutely this is something I'm going to look at. I'm going to use this specific type right here. This is a Vasily and Dannenberg type right here. I use these in the clinic. They're easy for me to really customize them towards each individual. I'm not making any money off of this video for supporting these. There's lots of other brands that do this as well, and in fact the first thing that we're going to talk about with the big toe and these removable inserts, I am starting to see in other brands coming up in the market and stuff that you can buy in stores or on Amazon as well. So that's awesome. So we'll talk a little bit more about those here in just a second, but let's just jump right into it here. Now, the big toe right here is so important for this plantar fascia because of what's called a Windlass Effect right here. The big thing that happens is every time we're going to step and we're coming forward and this other foot's starting to cross over here, but I'll keep it back for now just so you can see what's happening. Our big toe will flex up this way. What ends up happening is as this happens, and you'll actually see what's going on as I'm doing that, you're seeing my arch actually comes up a little bit. What's happening is it's pulling on my plantar fascia right here, and it is putting a lot of tension through that plantar fascia there, providing a lot of stability for that foot there. So every time I'm stepping, we want normal mechanics happening right here. But what ends up happening over time, especially when we have this plantar fasciitis or getting close to it, our toes aren't going forward anymore. We're starting to go outward a little bit more here, and we're rolling to the side more. And when that happens, we don't get that windlass effect. That plantar fascia stays on slack, and we start to rotate inward this way, collapsing that arch, and we start to actually get a lot of movement between all these little joints of all these bones right here and our tarsal bones, which is definitely not good there. So the thing that we have to do here is get that corrected. We got to keep those toes forward, but sometimes that is not enough. Like I said, sometimes we've got to get these to help us out here. How is this going to help out with that big toe? If I turn this sideways right here, if I were to line up where my big toe is right here, my first joint right here, and I go straight down from there, what I can actually do is create less space here or put more space up here at the big toe, or a combination of the two, so that whenever I'm stepping, this orthotic is actually placing my foot into a just slight dorsiflexion to start off with. So right off the bat, I'm already initiating that windlass effect a little quicker than usual. And so that I'm already getting some of that stability and starting that process to get that stability there. So when I'm stepping, when it's already elevated a little bit, we'll put you back on here. And I'll go ahead and take this off here as well to really show you. So with this one, I only need to take off this distal part right here. So, and it's not a lot, but it's definitely enough to let that joint sink in, to put just that slight amount of dorsiflexion right there. So now when I'm stepping through, I'm already getting that windlass effect happening. So by the time this foot is crossing over, everything's being utilized really well between that plantar fascia and the rest of that foot, and keeping everything nice and stable in there. And if taking a little bit out underneath where the NTP joint isn't quite enough, we can grab that little piece that we took off there, or if it comes with its own customizable piece, you can actually put that up a little higher underneath the big toe there. as well. Some people, this will be a little too much to begin with. Some people absolutely need it. It just depends person to person. There's lots of things that we're looking for in that, but the major thing that we're looking for is either this to drop down or this to elevate, or a small combination of both of those there. And the good thing about this right here that I'm starting to see, and I'm seeing lots of shoes that are coming out with this that are designed specifically for plantar fasciitis, is they're starting to have the insoles that actually have something elevating the big toe a little bit, and been surprising that I've seen that, but it's shown up over the last few years, but definitely not something I'm seeing in these specialized inserts that you can buy. I'm usually seeing these only in shoes that are marketed specifically for this plantar fasciitis here. Now, the other thing with these orthotics we need to watch for, well, it's a combination of what we need to actually look for and what we're mistakenly looking at, is the arch support and the posting back here at the heel. A lot of people really mistakenly look for arch that is very, very elevated, even more than this one right here. It is very stiff and rigid. You'll see that this one has quite a bit of movement here. We want something that is flexible. We want something that's not super high, because if it gets up really high and it's not flexible, we're actually putting sustained pressure on that arch right there. A lot of people think it's good. We'll go ahead and put something down there to hold it up into place. We have a better way to hold this into place than putting it right here and putting that sustained pressure on that tissue that will actually do us more harm than good overall. We don't want that sustained pressure there at all. So what do we do instead? Instead of having that here, we need to look at some sort of posting a little bit lower down at our heel, at our rear foot back here. If we can have this side, the medial side, a little bit higher up than the lateral side here, the outside here, if we can keep this elevated, and I'll actually show you from behind here, give you a little bit better angle. But if we can keep, and here's my inside on this side now since I switched up on you, but if we can keep the heel posted up a little bit higher on this medial side than this lateral side, what ends up happening is we get that same effect of getting our arch going up a little bit without putting that sustained pressure of our body weight on that tissue that's already probably injured if we're seeking something out like this. So having something that's a little bit thicker on that medial side there than over here on the lateral side is going to help out quite a bit. And if it's not, you have the option of adding posting just a little bit underneath there as well. But yeah, those are the two things that we're looking for in shoe orthotic, or if we're looking for brand new shoes that are designed specifically for plantar fasciitis. We want to make sure that the big toe is initiating, that movement is initiating properly to use our plantar fascia the right way, and making sure we're posting correctly to give us that arch support rather than just putting pressure underneath that arch. The big thing is, I really don't like to give these to people who have had plantar fasciitis for a short amount of time. I really try to keep this away from those people. If people have had several years of this problem, more than likely they're going to need this to help out with stuff that we're already trying to work on in clinic. But the big thing is, whichever category we're in, there's definitely things that we can do to help treat that. I did a video several weeks ago on that, so make sure you head back to the YouTube channel or the pt411.com to check those out. But that's going to wrap us up for the plantar fascia for now. I might do some videos later on, but we're going to wrap it up at least for now. If you have any other questions about this, anything else you want me to try to cover, any other treatments that you think I'm missing, go ahead and leave a comment below. But other than that, I'm Dr. Mike Matthews with the PT411. Thanks for joining me.